There we go.
Zach is my co-host. Zach is on the Cascadia Poetics Lab Board of Directors and is also on the Poetry Postcard Fest committee, as is Judy Kleinberg, as is Ina, who I don't think is coming today, as is Sally Hedges Blanquez. I don't is Sally in the house? I can't see her. As is Margaret Lee, but we kind of didn't really give you guys a whole lot of lead time on this, so we're grateful that you're here. We'd love it if you could read two or three postcard poems of your own. Um, you know,
Cool.
one, if you'd like to, you don't have to. If you want to talk about your experience, we love blurbs about the Postcard Fest. People, good things that happened during the fest. So, if you want to give us a blurb, I think we put that out on the on Veronica's survey that she did.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's good if you haven't done that. The blurbs help. And the Poetry Postcard Fest project is a project of the Cascadia Poetics Lab, which celebrates 32 years of existence on December 14th. Actually, I don't know if we're going to be celebrating necessarily, but it will be 32 years. We're going to have some kind of party because we're losing a board member due to term limits. Matt Treese will have done his 8 years, and we thank him for doing that. And he's still going to be involved in the organization. One of the things we'd like to do with the Postcard Fest, next year is year 20, 20 years of postcard poems. Just hard to believe. Time flies when you're having fun, I guess. And we have various ideas, including um, little online workshops for people to kind of share their secrets of how they do it. I'm looking at you, Judy Kleinberg. You laugh, haha. I'm looking at you, Zach Charles. I'm looking at other people too, some of the regulars. And is this Sally coming in? I hope so. And this would be for people who've already registered for next year, and many of you have. Let me just say also,
We're
many
registered already for next year?
people have read. It starts on September 1st, and
Wow.
I know there's at least two or three people who are like, I've got to be in group one. So whatever I have to do, I'm going to do. It's like me staying up all night in front of Ticketmaster to get Jeff Beck concert tickets, back in 1970, whatever. So, yeah, people are signing up already. And one of the beautiful things about that is
Have
that
you done that? What? Signed up already? No, I'm not even done with this year.
one of the beautiful things about the registration so far is that many people are giving a contribution above the $15. That helps make it easier for us to continue to do the fest and the other things that we do. And almost everybody also contributes that, what is it, $1.79 or whatever for the service to get its cut from that. So for those who give a little extra, we're grateful. For all of you who participate, we're very grateful. I so love this fest, and each year it offers more and more kind of gifts and experiences. And the one thing I love the most about it is that from the 4th of July, well, for us, it's a little dicey because on the 4th of July, we're biting our nails. We're trying to get the lists out. We're trying to do all this. So we're not quite in postcard mode. But once we do get in postcard mode, I'll speak for myself. Once I get in postcard mode, my senses are heightened. And so these little things that ordinarily would not end up um, providing inspiration for a poem, they often do. And so we have this feeling where the senses are heightened towards language, towards experience, towards communication, towards sharing something with someone, which is at the very bedrock of community. So that's part of what I love about this festival. And I hope that you all are getting part of that. And I'm sure that you have some stories. So what I'd like to do is ask you if you'd like to read or say something about it. Please drop your name in the chat. And I ask for Zach's help in making sure we're on track with this, but put your name in the chat so we know you want to say something, and we'll start recognizing people. It's going to be easier to do that. Can everyone access the chat? Do you see it? The chat button? You know how this works? Yeah.
No.
So I don't see everybody jumping towards it. Maybe I did something wrong, but I don't know if Zach, if you're ready to share some poems. Oh, here we go. Chat is working.
Yeah, sure.
Thank
Well,
you.
there we go. Yeah, now they're starting to pop up.
Now, Mary, I spelled Kelly wrong, didn't I? I spelled it without an E. Let me get on that. Hold on. Rename Kelly. You said Kelly with an E, but there's two E's actually. I know what you mean. Okay, so we have a list, and then we have Zach Charles. So this guy just moved to Seattle like 3 years ago, started doing the fest, and started doing these stunning kinds of serial takes on the fest, which I love so much. So maybe Zach, if you'd like to, I don't know if I can allow people to share screen. Would that be helpful, Zach, for you?
Yes, that could be helpful. Yeah.
And then we'll go Susan, Mary Beth, chat is working, Friesen, Margaret Painter, and Susan and Kelly, and then Mary Beth again. No, Mary Beth, we'll just put you in there once. All right, Zach.
All right. So this year, the art was a little less serial than in previous years, but the poetry I used to, there's a couple poems I've been working on, and so I decided I was gonna put them through the fest noodle press, and use it to help me sort of generate for these poems that I was struggling with a little bit. And the art kind of looked like this. These are ones I didn't send out yet. These collages out of this was a map of the Chinese. Oh, it says it right there. The Seattle Chinese Garden. So little bits like that, and origami stuff. I wanted to share a couple really beautiful cards I received as well. Some watercolor paintings. I'll just share the art side because, the poem's just for me. A beautiful pair. That's from Amy Reidner. And then there's some flowers and some bees. That's from Ashley Knowlton. And then from an old goat, a non-letter. That's what it says on the envelope I received this in. Non-letter from an old goat named Denny Stern. Post-consumerism. And then if you reveal, there's the old goat right there. And the other side is very colorful. And then the last one I wanted to share was from Carissa Cliff in Tennessee. Embroidered. Just some seriously creative stuff. So I will pull up some photos of mine and read a couple. And then I'll pass the mic. Go. A little slowly, but it's happening. Why don't I just read off my phone? That's not working. So one of the poems was that I've been working on is a letter for uh Gilmar Abrego Garcia and many of the other migrants who have been kidnapped and deported and put through a variety of hells. So this one has an epigraph from Greg Sargent in the New Republic. Ravenny was placed on administrative leave for failing to zealously advocate on behalf of the United States. Zealotry abounds and infects the unchecked ego of U.S. America, falling on your back, Gilmar Abrego Garcia, in the shape of the black boot thrust into your lowered abdomen by the Salvadoran Secot Guard over and over again, just as we are understanding it, history repeats itself, like the boot drawn back. Suffering cracks down like wartime authority and state secrets, like deepfakes and Photoshop tattoos and the heavy toe of the boot. This love letter can do naught but witness and become prayer. May you make it home safely at the end of this, and with time for you and your family to heal.
Nice work, Zach.
Thanks. So that was a little bit about my fest. I had a great time. I hope y'all did too.
Wonderful. We have Susan Tracy next. If you're not reading, if you could mute yourself so that we could focus on the person reading, that would be outstanding. Sometimes um, some noises will happen in the background and it's a little distracting visually. So we're going to go Susan, then Mary Beth, then Margaret, and then Kelly. You know, it just makes sense to put Susan and Kelly at the same.
No, no,
No?
no, it's fine.
You don't think so? Okay.
I can wait.
You can always come back.
All right, Kelly.
Susan,
Okay,
go.
I'll go first. First off, to say I received many lovely poems, and this was the best fest for me out of, I think the first year I did this was 2018. And this one really just resonated with me. I think a lot of it was the people that sent me the poems, beautiful artwork and lovely poems. And I also kind of found my own voice partway through the month. The beginning, I felt like I was writing poems that really weren't in my own voice. They're ones that I wrote similar to ones I wrote long ago. And then it's sort of my experience caught up with me. And they kind of went into a couple of different themes. When I was much younger, I lived in Sweden for a time in school. And we all recently, well, actually almost a year now, we went back to Sweden and Norway for a couple of weeks. And there were a lot of feelings about that. So it kind of all caught up back to me again. And I reached into my own experience, but I also reached back in time, and it all kind of came together with this time. So maybe you'll see the allegory here in this one. I'd like to read of my own first. I called it the Stockholm Bloodbath of 1520, which I, King Christian II, cry fake news. No blood, maybe baths. The Swedes are so dirty. They hate the Kalmar Union. They don't even speak Danish. I, with my very good brain, I alone can fix this. You're fired, Gustav Vasa, you loser. I will make Denmark great again. We will take control of Sweden. One way or another for Denmark. So much winning, so many kroner. And for those that don't know, the Stockholm bloodbath was when a king of Denmark tried to assert his control over Sweden by killing basically all of the people. He called them together for a truce and then killed most of the nobles. So it kind of resonated with somebody else in our own time and space, which seems to be repeating that. So it was sort of a history repeats itself. And bear with me just a moment. I'll pull up the other one that I really, the other thing is we do a lot of gardening. And every day I would walk the dog and I would compose my poem in my head while while I was walking the dog. And a lot of my activities end up of the day would be around the gardening. And anybody who grows pumpkins and squash and zucchinis and things that has ever dealt with squash bugs might like this one. I called it Cucumber Love. I caught them today, copulating in the cucumbers. Dionysus, ready and willing. Ariande, dreaming of her next 250 children. Our encounter, their doom. Surrogate parenthood not for me. They just grow up. Leave me anyway. Never call home. So I squashed the squash bugs. I won't share the details, but I'd like to think they died happy. And just really quickly, I think my favorite that I received was this. First of all, I guess it's a Spanish noir artwork. If I can get that to come anywhere. No, I guess I'm not. Sorry. From Roseanne in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. And they said, "Hi, Susan. Be faithful to your heart. Let it remain soft and sweet, like a pomegranate seed, juicy, not a ruby, hard and shiny, impenetrable, pretty but sharp." So it's just, did you have something that you wanted to read? Are you going to come back?
There's some other people in front of me.
Okay, Ellie says we have to come back to her.
Susan, tell us about just a little brief thing about how you found your voice. What do you think, or voices? What do you think was it that allowed you to have that transition?
My older poems tended to be more about the emotions that were very inward, that were frankly a lot of suffering from accidents, from I'm disabled. There were more sort of I don't know, in kind of a dark way, really. And I didn't enjoy writing dark poetry that, you know, a lot of sadness. And what helped me to find my voice was looking more outward at things that I really loved, like my time in Sweden, time that I went back there. I wrote many poems about people, you know, characters I kind of dreamed up in my head that would live there, like the old man in the park, or the Syrian refugees that I saw and gave a lunch to. And so it's just like I moved past all of that suffering poetry, I guess I'll call it, and to experiences that I love, like growing the vegetables and tending the gardens, or the traveling and the culture. And I do a lot of language study too. So I would sometimes compose my poem in my head, that this one's about Sweden, and then translate them when I got home. So that was a fun exercise too, was to try to actually write a poem in another language and then make it work somehow in English. So it was just, I think I found my voice because I was happier about things and looking externally and not so much just internally at pain or suffering or sadness.
Fantastic. I think
Yeah.
that's fantastic.
Thank you, Paul.
I think it's a transformational experience, this Postcard Fest and poetry in general. And I'm grateful that you're a postcard poet.
Thank you. It allowed me, if I didn't know how I felt about something, but I could write about it. By the time I finished writing about it, I knew how I felt about it. So for me, that was beautiful.
Yeah, it should be an act of discovery, I think. I agree with you. I think that's fantastic.
Thank you,
Very,
Paul.
very good. For those who've just joined us, we're putting in the chat our names if we'd like to share something. We ask that you read some of your work. If you'd like to show what somebody else has sent you, that's good. We like it to respect that the poems should be unpublished, so unless you get permission. So let's stick with reading our poems and showing the images. The images are fair game. Mary Beth, you're next, and then Margaret, and then Kellyanne will come back to you after Margaret.
I I had a mixed bag for this year's Poetry Fest, just because of everything that's going on in the world. So I apologize to all the people that I sent political angst to, but that's the way the world is. So I have a few sets of haiku here. Fell off yesterday, off that existential cliff. So much bad news. In the afternoon, I stood with my bright sign, waving at traffic. Tried to look friendly, and when people cursed us, thought, may you live in peace.
Amen.
Eh, it's tough. Hummingbird flash. Paused for red geranium and tapped the window. By chance, I saw this. Was I some demonic god to separate them? The flowers glowing, geranium happiness for the short visit. I saw a hummingbird actually come to my window and tap to get to the geranium on the other side. I felt awful. This one I wrote last week, but it belongs at the end of that. I will remind you in December's palest light, hummingbirds loved you.
Palest light, far out.
All right. And lastly, because this is New England. Yes, please, another. White bread, mayonnaise, and then tomato slices. Waves of mayonnaise across firm white bread slices. Rain down black pepper. Pickle slices cling to the edge. White china plate, tomato sandwich. That summer we both ate so many tomatoes. We were both itchy. I
What
knew you'd enjoy that one, Paul.
what happens? How do you get itchy from tomatoes?
You eat so many that it acidifies your body and you turn
Uh,
into one big itch.
is that right? Is it
Mhm.
acidification?
Yep.
Um, thanks for all your dedication to the postcard fest, Mary Beth.
Thank you.
You see?
Oh, they arrived.
I got them. Yeah, they came close after one another, and
Oh, yeah, because you were the end of my list.
yeah.
Thank you.
All right, let's go back to the chat, and I believe it's Margaret Painter next, then Kelly, and then Fran Scott. So Margaret,
Hi.
hi,
Hi. Thank you so much. Where is he? Paul,
I'm here.
where are you?
How do I get myself to?
I'm in full screen, but I don't. Oh, there you are. Okay. My last name is Partner. And this was my first year I did this, and I just loved it. It was so fun.
How'd you
And
wait? How'd you find out about it?
I'm in a writing group, and a friend of mine who is a published poet, she told me about it. So she and another woman who is in the writing group and me, we all did this, and it was great. I
What
loved
group?
it.
What group is it?
Group six.
No, no, no. What group
It,
is your poetry group?
group six.
You,
Is anybody on this chat or this party from group six?
my
Okay.
my concern, my question is about the poetry group that you are a member of that
Yes.
that told you
Oh,
about the postcard fest, so we
oh,
can throw some support to that group.
okay. It's not a poetry group. It is a writing group here in Coos Bay, Oregon. And it's called the Mondays Writer Group, and we meet on Wednesday. So, but some of us do write poetry. So, anyway, that's how I heard of it. This was my first year, and I loved writing the poems and receiving the poems. And I frequent thrift stores around here. And so I really spent probably 3 hours, 2 different days, finding and picking out vintage postcards to mail out to the people on my list, and I discovered that I didn't have any poems like in the back of my head or already written or anything. I would just look at the postcard and like be inspired. And some of you probably already know, I did not, that this actually has a name. Paul, do you remember the name of this, or does somebody? I have it written down somewhere, but I didn't look for it.
Ekphrastic poetry.
Thank you.
Welcome.
So as I was doing this, I was like, wow, maybe this is a real thing that you just look at a beautiful picture and write a poem about it. And then, I discovered, yes, it is that word. So, and then I didn't even think about like writing down my poems that I was like creating from writing at these postcards until it was already going on. And so eventually I did. I put them in a document, which I don't have any access to right now because I would probably mess up the screen. But there was only one that I wrote down in notebook, which was like one of my, at the very beginning of the postcard fest. And this was a postcard that had a woman walking sort of a maze in a maze of white, like a white fence, and in the near background was a lighthouse. And so this is what came from that picture. It's just called The Lighthouse. Put your blue dress on, walk through the fences to the house of light. Be naked, let the light clothe you, heal you, praise you. Oh, human, you were once light. Now you are again one with the light. Do you want to live in the old world of darkness? You must put on the blue rag to return to its riches. And then, oh, I do want to say that there were like 7 people who didn't send me a poem.
You need me to rough somebody up for you?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, me too. No, it's not over yet.
Okay.
It's not.
Yeah, yeah, there was one guy, I think, from Australia, but there were 7 people, which was very disappointing that I didn't get a poem and a postcard from them.
Well, a couple of things about that.
Hmm.
It's taking much longer for postcards to get to their intended recipient. It's just taking very long time in some cases, number one. And number two, what they taught me in Leiden Baptist Church back in the 60s was that it is better to give than to receive. But I feel your pain. At least you're not
Yeah.
like the woman who, after the fest was over, sent postcards to everyone who didn't send her a postcard and said, "Where's my postcard poem?"
Yeah. Yeah.
Go that far. So I'm grateful because it could be worse.
Can I share a couple that I received? Like, is that okay, Paul?
Well, if you have their pre-authorization that they wanted their poems to be out there,
Oh, I could just share the picture though, right?
that's fair game. Absolutely.
Okay. I got a few watercolored ones, which were very nice, and that sort of prompted me to do a few watercolor ones too.
Who sent you that
And
one?
I'm not supposed to tell you, am I?
You're not supposed to read someone's poem,
Oh,
but
okay. This one is from Nicole in Seattle. Very pretty, just beautiful colors. And also, I wanted to show this one. So this one is from Rick. Who's Rick?
I don't
Why
know.
are you laughing?
Because it says more cowbell.
Oh, wait, let's see. Oh, okay, here you go. I don't know the address. Oh, wait, Rick is in Seattle. So when I got this one, then I was like, oh, that's really cool. So I have a folder of magazine words and pictures. So I did the same thing he did for me. So that was fun. So I got inspired and did some some, the front of the postcards, like some of the postcards I received. So it got passed on, the creativity. Okay. Thank
Isn't it?
you.
Thank you, Margaret, partner. Isn't it funny how that happens? We get things and we're inspired by them and we steal a little bit of their fire.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm going to go back to the gallery view. Oh, no, maybe I should. Well, anyway, I don't know if you can see in my little box this book, Transforming Vision, Writers on Art. This is edited by Ed Hirsch. And the Art Institute of Chicago supplied the images. And this is a very good book for those interested in the link between visual art and literary art, the ekphrastic impulse, I guess. So very good. So we have who we have next? We have Kelly back in Vancouver. Welcome.
There you go. Off mute.
Hello. I was trying to think back how far, or I mean, how long I've been a member of PPF. I think the first year was 2013, so that it's been a while, and that I've had a few off years. And Paul did mention when I signed up, finally, like at the last minute, he's like, "Oh, nice to have you back," and so that it is wonderful to be back. And so I found out about PPF originally from ModPo, which is an online poetry class that I took, and that there were some writers in there and stuff who were in the fest, and so that I have met some of you personally, so that has been wonderful, Paul and Judy. And one poem that I liked a lot, we do a food delivery from a shelter that makes the food to this other shelter once a week. And so we just pick it up and take it. But the men's shelter where the food is made is on a corner of Vancouver, Blue House. And so that this is called One Corner in Vancouver. At the corner of 13th and Lincoln, rusty cars filled with a life's goods and tents pitched atop a small verge try to claim a little space as shiny new condos rise next door. There they find a precarious shelter amid disinterest and dismay of those who sniff, "Not in my backyard." Those now unseen were once fathers, mothers, daughters, sons, lives lived with purpose, maybe with love, brought down by illness and addiction and the crime of just being poor. Actually, that
I like that one a lot. Yeah.
I choke up a bit. And so because it just meant a lot to me that I see these people every week, and that they're the unseen people and the ones that other people just don't care about. And then that I've got one, hopefully that it's not too long, that I sent to Zach, and that I sent to Zach because he lives about, I think, 6 blocks from here.
From where the poem is set. Yeah.
Yeah, from the setting of the poem. So that my family is originally from Alki Beach for 100 years. So this is called West Seattle. I look for traces of a past along Southwest Alki Avenue, tip of Northern Point, once lined with modest houses of tradesmen. But Percival Pierce, Dick by nickname, haberdasher by trade, Englishman married to divorcee Vera Zott from Ohio via Alaska. Great grandfather by name, not biology. First at 2116 and then 1234, they loved and fought and drank. Zimro, son and a stepson, and electrical salesman, married the literal girl next door, Joe McCullisich, the daughter of Joseph and Mary, owners of J&M Cafe in Pioneer Square. At 1134 and then 1250, the second generation puts the cycle, marriages, births, illness, alcoholism, deaths on repeat. No happy union there, but 4 children sired in a quick succession. Robert Michael, always Mike, eldest with fierce intelligence and a torment in his soul, Normandy, Rosalie, and then Patrick. I look for traces of a vanished past on a windy stretch of West Seattle, now replaced by $1 million concrete and glass condos. The Pierce name, soon dying out. No one left to carry it on. Will anybody care who once lived there? So that's like all of the places that people that my family lived, and they're all gone now. So if I mean all the houses are gone and they're all condos.
Yeah, the neighborhood has changed. It used to be when I first moved to Seattle in '88, it had
Yeah.
a different kind of tenure, like or a different kind of vibe to it. Going back to that first poem,
Mhm.
you know, I found that when you compose spontaneously and you go back and read it, you're re-experiencing that event, and it's a very visceral feeling. And so I'm not surprised. Do you have, obviously you had that experience today?
Yeah, just now when you're reading it, absolutely. You
I
did.
know, I got a bit choked up because it just makes me think about those people out there. So, and that they were all once had lives with purpose. And so that it's like an important part of our week anyway, of doing that.
Thanks for doing that.
Sure. And love the fest. So I'll be back next year. I think I'll probably be in group 1. So since I signed up right away.
Well, I'm grateful that you have that.
Oh, and I got some nice cards too. I don't think Alan Kahn is on.
I don't think they're showing up well because I think you have
No,
a background on.
I'm trying to get it to.
If you were able to get it as close to the camera,
There.
as
There.
close,
That one's good. It's like a
I'm
windmill.
trying to get into the same. It's
you
not
got to get
working.
it right up. You have to get it
Alan
right up to
Kahn
the
wrote
thing.
this.
Yeah, it's not going to work because
Not
you have
gonna
a
work.
background
Oh,
on.
well.
Oh well.
You're kind of
All right.
going in and out of focus during your reading, so it was a
Yeah.
little. It was a little
Alan
disappointing.
Kahn wrote a great poem, and it's about a windmill or windmills, and so that then I got a nice one too. Well, they're all nice, but from Jill Langlois. So anyway, I don't think that
That's
you
not
can see
gonna work.
that.
And I don't
so-
remember where the setting is to change it. I'm sorry.
Anyway, that's all.
Thanks, Kelly.
Sure.
We're going to go Fran Scott and then Stanley Del Gozo and then Laura and then Robin. And Fran, you're on. Hello and welcome.
Hello, everybody. This was my first year with this program, and I have to say that I loved it so much that I will be registering for next year.
How'd you find out about it?
I found out I have a good friend who lives in Eugene, Oregon, and she sent me a text one day, said, "Hey, I saw this and I thought you might like to participate." Um, I've written a poem a day since April 1st, 2019, with a good friend of mine in Black Diamond, Washington. So I'm not new to writing poetry daily, so that was not the challenge. Um, I've also collected postcards for years because for years, on the last Sunday of every month, I have written two postcards to two people through this organization called Love for Our Elders. And so I'm always looking for postcards to do that. And so I have a huge box of postcards. Um, I have an interesting story. I am not great at reading the fine print of anything, of really paying attention to exactly how something should be done. And after I had sent about 6 postcards, I get a letter in the mail. And I got a letter in the mail from one of the participants in my group, basically telling me that I was doing it all wrong and that this was how I needed to do it. And at first, I was not too happy about that. But like everything, I try to take a positive spin on it. And when I realized that, hey, the poem that you write should try to correspond with the image on the front of the postcard. And he even went so far to tell me that you should look for stamps that'll go along with your poem too. And I'm like, oh gosh, I just don't have the bandwidth for that, but I can definitely try to write the poems from now on so that they will correspond to the image on the front of my postcard.
Wait a second. I don't know. I don't know where people get off on becoming the poetry postcard police, but that's not dogma. That's not, it never says that. There's a page called How It Works, right? Poetry Postcard Fest. If you go to poetrypostcardfest.org and go to How It Works, you see that. And there's at least a couple of things you mentioned that we don't say, please do it like this. So I'm sorry that you had that experience, and I'm sorry that someone felt like they needed to be the police, but I hope you had a good fest despite that.
Oh, I had a great fest. And I wrote the person back a letter, and I sent him another postcard with a poem that matched what I was seeing on the front of the postcard. And then I was kind of hooked. So then I was kind of like, oh, I kind of like this additional challenge of trying to write something that exemplifies the image on the front of the postcard. What I love, I write not just those 2 postcards every last Sunday of every month, but I write letters and notes to people, my friends, my family all over the world. I love it. It's something that brings me a lot of joy. And so to go to the mailbox every day and wonder if I was going to get a postcard was just really exciting for me. And I really loved just the wide spectrum of poems that were written and some of the artwork on the front of the postcards. And what's really interesting to me is that several of the poems that I received had a theme of forgiveness. And I had been thinking a lot about forgiveness this past month due to something in my life that I needed to be ruminating on forgiveness. And so to have these poems show up in my mailbox on this theme of forgiveness was pretty incredible to me. I'll go ahead and share one poem that I wrote. I don't have the image. but I can describe what was on front of the postcard. It was a grid of all different kinds of pollinators, different butterflies, different bees, and it was very colorful in pastel colors. And so this is the poem that I wrote for that postcard. Secret Garden. I am sacred roots and wild tendrils of morning, glory reaching for clouds. I am ancient forest and blood moon howling with wolves. I've swam the rivers of myself, sacred waters holding secret songs. I left Eden of my own free will. I learn how deep the ocean lies and whether caterpillars cry when the curtains close on their cocoons. I found it really challenging to write short poems to fit on the postcards. Did anyone else struggle with that?
Yeah, Fran, definitely. I think one of the things that I was sort of mentioning with mine was that I wrote a few poems that were like across 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 cards. So that's totally fair game. And I think it's fun. I've received a few like that where you kind of get to play around and figure out what came before or after. So that's totally fun. And the serendipity you were talking about is super potent. And that's like the heightened sense that Paul was talking about at the very beginning of the hour, that we just see these things happening, these patterns occurring in a different way when we're paying close attention like this. Anything else you wanted to add? Pass it to
No,
Stanley.
Yep, go Stanley.
All right. Thanks, Stanley.
Excuse me, Zach, did you say you spread this one poem across several postcards?
Yes, you heard me right.
And I'll add
that's mind-boggling. Thank you.
I'll add something that we've given it a name called serialization poems, and a lot of people do that. So, right, Zach?
Yeah, yes, absolutely.
Okay. I just want to show this card, which is just an incredible piece of artwork. And the poem, it's sort of like me, and it's very short, and I'm sure he's not. The colorful cars roared by in the peace and quiet of little Billy's imagination, an imagination that always felt like open sky. So I really, really like that. I've been in the fest probably since I met Paul. Well, no, Paul didn't tell me about it. We were in a poetry group together, and I didn't hear about it for about 3 or 4 years. And I said, why didn't you tell me about it? Oh, I don't know. Anyway, but Paul and I met in 2007, and he came to my welcome home at a Mankind project. So what I always pick a theme, but one of the cards that I try to write every year goes to Mary Beth, and I think she's in here. I don't know where she is. Just a minute. Mary Beth Friesen. Yes, and I always mention her famous mailbox, which is the opening page of the 56 Days of Poetry, and it's a watercolor of her mailbox, and it's just sitting there in the snow, and it's really good. But one thing, I've written over 1,000 postcards now, and I have changed in how I do it. I used to make sure I typed everything out, so I had a whole list of all the poems and everything. Now I just run them through my wife's scanner, and here's the one I sent to Paul. It's St. Peter's, but I want a couple of them. What I do for the Poetry Postcard Fest, the night before, I figure out who I'm going to write to, and I put the address on, and I pick a stamp, but it doesn't matter. You can't do it wrong, Fran. There is nothing you can do wrong in this fest. Send a postcard, uplift somebody, send lots of love. Because I take the next morning when I write it, I take it to the post office, and everybody in the post office knows me. I'm in a little small town here in New Mexico, and they hand cancel it and put love in it before they send it in their box. And then I found out that their wages in this small post office and in all post offices in the United States come from the purchase of stamps. So I've always been kind of a stamp collector. But this, there's it's called the 250 years of postal delivery, and it is the coolest stamp. The page of it is so cool, and it's like a collage of the postal carrier going on his route, and then you tear off the forever stamps. And I always use first class stamps, but so I use Paul Revere speedy delivery, I called it, to send a card to Walter Lowe. He loves stamps. If you had Walter Lowe on your list this time, he'll put like 4 to 5 stamps just to get the postage, and he does pick them with lots of love. So aloha, Walter. With your love of stamps and my love of speedy delivery, we make a great team. The Pony Express, honored on the 250 years of delivery stamps, is the perfect choice for your bonus card. The moon is waning at 80% tonight, and I am dancing under its peaceful light. Namaste, namaste, namaste. So I use the moon as my the moon waxing and waning. So here's the card that I sent to Mary Beth. Since she's here, I know I can. Aloha, Mary Beth. And it was card number 1021, actually. Wow. Seems like ages since you've been on my list. The moon is waning tonight at 88.6% of its fullness, shining on your famous mailbox and also on mine, reminding us that we are never alone. A beautiful talisman. Namaste, 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 namaste. And Abaya. I got what I do. Actually, who said that they didn't get many postcards? I've only gotten 14 from my list, but I've got 32 postcards from bonus cards from other people, you know. So like the people I write to, let me
What's a bonus postcard?
oh, somebody that's not on your list.
They just know you or
have
your address from other years?
Yes, in fact, we usually write all year. I was just looking for
one more, Stanley, and then we've got to get to a lot of other people.
I'm in. Okay, aloha. This is, I won't tell you who it is because it's somebody out here today, but I use the Bugs Bunny stamp of playing the piano. Bugs showing his stuff in an empty concert hall or in the center of a traveling carrot patch. We are all one on this starry, starry night, with the moon waxing at 7.0%, reminding us, as a beautiful talisman, we are never alone. Namaste, 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 namaste. That's enough. Namaste.
Stay.
Thanks, Stanley. We have Laura, Robin, and Judy Kleinberg coming up. Stanley, I love the stories about your little post office in Deming, New Mexico. Love to all the postal workers, and I too share your fascination for stamps. One thing you didn't mention about Walter Lowe, it's not just any stamps he puts on. These are old stamps, 6-cent stamps and stuff like that he sends out. So while that's not necessary, Fran, it's not necessary to tie in thematically your stamp with your content. When you can do that, it's a little extra, but it's not a requirement. Right, Stanley?
Yes, and he did send me, a couple of years ago, he sent me the Central Station in New York. What's it called?
And Central
Anyway,
Station.
yeah, yeah. But he on the top is Speedy Delivery, Mercury, and it was a focus on the little statue on top of it. And so every time we write, we talk about Speedy Delivery and Mr. Rogers. Okay.
All right. Thanks, Stanley. Oh, by the way, Stanley referred to this book called 56 Days of August, Poetry Postcards. This came out after 10 years of the Poetry Postcard Fest. So it's next year will be 10 years old, just to let you know. So that's what he's got going. Laura,
Hey, Paul.
my condolences.
Oh, thank you. That was actually, it's all right. We're better. That was years ago when that happened. Somebody just in the family found this obituary from, I don't know, 15 years ago. And I had written my father-in-law's obituary. And so everybody's like, where did this come from? And we solved the mystery. So yeah, I mean, we're sad not to have him anymore, but it's been a while.
Got it.
So I was going to show, this was my favorite thing I got this year from Andrew in Yorkshire, England. And what he did, it's a card that you then cut around. And then inside is the beautiful, I'm not going to show you the poem, but the poem faces the artwork he did, which was just dynamite. So when I sent him one, I did a cheap imitation of what he did. So, but that was my very favorite one. Plus, he did, I think you can see on the return address part, he filled in Washington. He was sending it to me. So that was really cool.
Tell that guy, Fran, that's what he has to do next time. He has to get a map of the states and color in the state you're
Color in
in.
the one you're in.
Tell him it's a requirement and see what he says.
And this is another of my favorite postcards I got. It's got a unicorn and it says, yes, you can get through today because you're a mother fudging unicorn. So I rather love that. And so what I did this year, and I can't count how many, Stanley, I don't know how many poems I've sent, but I started in 2009 and then took a break and I was back and I've done 9 years altogether. So that's kind of fun. So this year, what I did was I made a watercolor on watercolor paper every day. And then I wrote a poem that did or did not go with the watercolor. I received this postcard and then I wrote my poem for it. I don't know if it'll stay. It's 6 a.m. and cloudy. My living room is bereft of birds and fish and throw pillows round as beach balls. My house is absent of young men, bird-headed or no. My swimming is enthusiastic, but no role model for fish, though I do it in a chill lake just across the Cascades, where they've been planted for a century. There's a rumor of a water serpent big and elusive as Nessie. Do you believe it?
I know that myth. It's an indigenous myth.
Yes, yes, and I have a newspaper article from when Chelan had a newspaper, the Chelan Daily Mirror. I have a newspaper article that was the size of the whole front, well, it was the whole front page, that someday I will frame. That's children's drawings in the school of this monster.
Wow.
So yeah, pretty cool. So this one, Elvis does not have a part, but I'll just show you that's the front of the card that I got. But then the poet, who's Amy in Hoodsport, Washington, she wrote about clams. And so then I wrote, Dear Amy, so much resistance. Clams resist spitting sand. The spider resists floral disruption of her web. We all practice it, with any luck, daily. Resist quietly, en masse, alone and together. We'll be complacent when we're dead. So I just went off like someone else was talking about, like beware, there will be rants. Um, and this I'm going to just share. I don't write that long of poems. My watercolor was of this Black-Eyed Susan vine, which is different than Black-Eyed Susan. And I love Latin names for plants. So I painted this vine because the yellow is so amazing, and the flowers they're 5 petals and sort of squared off, so beautiful. So I wrote, and it's Thunbergia, excuse me, Thunbergia alata. Thunbergia alata brings me joy, ignites my pleasure pathways, silences my fears. What else matters but its sunny aspect, its crayon yellow invitation to keep looking, the simple shapes of its flowering, its dance in this morning's breeze.
What was the line about ignites? Say that again.
Bum, bum, bum. Ignites my pleasure pathways.
Yes. Yes.
Which is, celebrate anything that will do that right now. Yeah, I think if you could stand one more. So Wisława Szymborska is a heroine of mine, and I love the number pi. I actually, as a child, learned to calculate it, and I just kept going because that's the kind of kid I was. And so this one, what I've done a lot of times is I'll do a quote on the front of my card along with whatever I didn't do it this year. I think I did it once because I was doing the watercoloring and that was enough. But so on this one, it was to someone named Cassandra. Wisława Szymborska writes of the irrational number pi. It keeps right on, nudging, always nudging a sluggish eternity to continue. Some days I need, irrationally, something like pi to nudge me into what I have next to face. Do you? And it's from her poem, Pi, P-I.
Time for pie.
Time for pie.
That's right.
March 14th, always.
Greg Bem's birthday. He celebrates every year with a pie party, I think. Well, he did one year anyway.
I say every year is good. So that's me.
Laura,
Thank you
thanks
all.
so much for coming today and for being a postcard poet.
You bet. It's a highlight of my year, Paul.
It colors the season, doesn't it? It's like, okay,
Yep.
I got to get writing postcards. I feel the same way. So I think Judy Jensen said that after year 1 or 2 or 3, that she said for me, it's like a season, like the holiday season or whatever else.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's why it's hard to send postcards outside the fest for me. Right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Thanks, Laura.
So special. Thank you, Paul, and
Yeah.
everyone.
We're overdue for coffee. We've got Robin, Judy, Donna, Dakota. What do you have to say, Zach?
I did some math. 589 is how many postcards you'd have written if you did one group every year. So Stanley, you're at 1,000. You're like double. You're doing at least 2 groups a year.
And
Or
also
I think you're at like almost 300.
Also the World Peace Postcard Fest in February. I never missed that either. So I count all those.
There you have it. Robin Gabbert, welcome to the Poetry Postcard Fest wrap-up. Please tell us your experience of the fest and read a couple of poems.
Okay, thank you, Paul. Yeah, I had a great year. This was my second year doing the fest, and it was great fun. I got some wonderful art cards in the mail. That one is from, actually, looks like A.R. Coomer, or it might be Gomez. The writing's hard to read. This one is really nice with a bull on it. That is from Paula Wagner. That's Paula Wagner. Also, I learned from these cards that where you can write on the front as well as the back, which is really a new thing for me because sometimes if you don't have enough room on the back, it's nice to know that you can get cards that give you that extra room. But I wanted to say too that I do a lot of I do a lot of ekphrastic poetry in general. I have a book of ekphrastic poetry called The Clandestine Life of Paintings and Poems. So I always write to the ekphrastic poems to the cards. And this year I happened to be able to get a pack of Picasso cards. So every day I wrote something to a Picasso art piece. Would I be able to share screen so I could show you some of them with the poems I wrote?
I believe we have enabled screen sharing.
Okay, great. Okay. Okay, so these are some examples. I'll just go through here quickly and pick out a couple. This is the first one I wrote. Dear Margaret, this is called The Imploring was the name of the art. This is the first one I wrote. Dear Margaret, I turned 70 this week. Never one to complain about my age. I must admit the arthritis in my hands is killing me. Can you all see that?
Yes, we can. I think it might be a good epitaph for you.
Yes. There's another one. You can see Girl Before a Mirror. That's one that's pretty well known. It's unclear if the mirror loves or hates you. You wish to protect your image, yourself. Your lovely face stares at the artist, and you in the mirror tries to shield secrets without success. Don't worry, your child will someday see you as an icon who tried for tenderness, but stood helplessly frozen, still exposed.
Beautiful, beautiful poem.
So, it just, because his work is so diverse, you know, there was really a variety. Here's a real short one, After Woman Reading. The woman streams through her book like the Ebro through Spain, interrupted only by the occasional damn, mandatory calls to meals needing to be prepared before child and man invade the sacred space. So that kind of gives you a flavor. Anyway, I kept track of them all, of course, and I'm going to now that the fest is done, I'm going to start posting them on my Facebook page. So if you want to hear more of them, you can look me up on Robin Gabbert Poetry. I'll probably start tomorrow posting them.
You can drop that in the chat if you like. The
Sure, I shall.
beautiful poems. I love that you type them. I hate to say it, but I used to be like kind of a purist, but then I started typing them too and then gluing them on. And I have to say, sometimes I can't read people's poems because of the handwriting. And it makes me a little crazy. So I can read yours very clearly. And what a beautiful project you had.
Well, actually, I did handwrite them on the cards, but I also started a document and took pictures of the cards.
Yeah. I have a scanner. I use a scanner, $100 scanner, but
yeah.
It's good to be able to read them. I'm grateful that you're a postcard poet. Thanks for being here and being part of this community.
It's a wonderful project. It's a wonderful group. I'm thankful to be part of it.
Amen. We have Judy and Donna and Charlene and Donna Wetz. Donna Wetz, I think that's an abbreviation. Before we bring Judy Kleinberg in, I just wanted to say that, we have workshops that extend this kind of notion of spontaneous composition. There's room in the 3 workshops that are happening this fall, one facilitated by Matt Treese, Poet as Radio, which is an allusion to Jack Spicer, who likened the poet to a radio that's tuned to a station from Mars. So that's where he gets that. And I'll be teaching.
Which starts tomorrow.
Starts tomorrow.
So get in there. Or if you got to start next weekend, that works too.
I'll be facilitating the workshops Poetics as Cosmology, and Life as Rehearsal for the Poem. And information is on the site. We're going to be going sort of.
One moment.
Hello. We're going to be going through the history of the spontaneous, sort of the mostly projective poets, those writing projectively or spontaneously, starting with Walt Whitman. Emily was not really a projective poet, but sort of the mother and father of U.S. American poetry, and going up all the way through history to the present in 5 weeks. And there will be exercises based on some of the readings of those poets. And then there's also a workshop on the HD book, Hilda Doolittle book by Robert Duncan, which came out after Duncan died. And the co-editor of that book, Michael Bowen, will be facilitating. And that promises to be amazing. Robert Duncan, one of the most important 20th century poets, I think. And Hilda Doolittle, also one of the most important poets of the 20th century, who may not get the credit that she deserves. So those things are coming up. CascadiaPoeticsLab.org for more information. Judy Kleinberg is on the Poetry Postcard Fest committee. We're grateful for her help with shaping the fest and trying to make it a better experience. And she does beautiful work herself. And I'm so grateful that she's a postcard poet. Judy, what did you do this year? What do you have to talk about?
Well, it's always a little bit crazy in this time of year because in addition to postcards, I also do or try to do the Seeley Challenge, which means reading a book of poems every day. I confess that I did not make it through the month. I think I got to 21, but still, that's a lot of poetry. But what I find is that it feeds into the writing of the poems, whether directly or indirectly. And so I'm holding this in my lap, and I'm going to try not to spill it, but I just will show you. This is my postcard collection from years past. It's in an oversized, in a boot box, and I just line them up by year. And what I did this year is I found myself, sometimes in past years I've set a theme, but the world felt a little wild to me for themes. So I ended up responding to things that were in the news or things that were in a postcard I had received. And in some cases, they were in a postcard that I had received from the person in a previous year. And that was a big advantage because I have all those postcards that I received from those previous years. So if I got to somebody's name on the list and I didn't have an idea, I just went back to see what they sent me from a previous year. Anyway, I will read you a couple of poems. Let's see, where did I stash those? So in this one, this was from Birgit Heidorn, and she sent me a poem in which she used the words savor of snails. So I wrote to her, when you say savor of snails, I wonder if you mean save as in rescue or save as in collect. You might have liked the one I found on the trash bin lid yesterday. So small, I'm not even sure how I noticed it was a snail, not even a quarter-inch across, but perfect in its coiled molluscularity, small enough that the morning sun lit up its entire shell, its extended foot and tiny reaching tentacles. I left it there. Maybe it was saved. And then this one is in response to a Seattle Times, which arrives here every day. Quote, there goes the sun. Front page headline, the Seattle Times, July 17th, 2025. Hip deep in our catastrophes, we still love the newspaper sky of evening, how it stains our view to remind us of distant volcanoes, fires, the terrible and toxic awash in colors of flowers and romance. The sun is always somewhere, its heat and blaze scorching the map, sending out auroran tentacles, then rising again into dawn's forgiveness, pastel pale. But who could blame the great yellow orb if it abandoned Earth, turned away in disgust after all its favors, all its warnings, driven off by the hubris of creatures that imagine they are smarter, hotter, more handsome than the sun? So that was my postcard month.
Hip deep in our catastrophes, is that what you said? Oh, Judy, I'm so grateful that you put so much energy into this and that you're part of it. Thanks for being here and for doing what you do.
Thank you, Paul, and all of you.
Fantastic. I'm going to share that line in the chat. I typed it up. Okay, where do we? I can't keep up with the chat and run this thing, so I've got to go back up here home.
I think we're at Donna Dakota.
Far out. Thanks, Zach.
Hi, Paul. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. We're not going to see you?
No, you know why? I have a Chromebook that's so old, it's held together with duct tape and hope. And if you can see me, you won't hear me. So trust me on this. You'd much prefer to hear me.
Well, it's good to hear you nonetheless.
And I don't know. I've been doing this a long time. I don't even know how long, but I love every time I'm in. I think I've only missed a couple, and I love every time I'm in one. And while I love the postcards and I love the poetry, I have loved collecting some of you as poets. Some of you have become like friends to me, like Stanley and I send him a chapbook of all of them that I've done for a postcard. And it's fun for me to think like, well, I'm sitting down and writing a poem. Maybe one of you guys that I'm familiar with are. So I really enjoyed that. And I became really good friends with Elizabeth Woods from Australia, of all places. We've never met, but we talk to each other either on the phone or internet or whatever, almost every other day. And this year she told me she wanted to do, sometimes we do a joint project. So she wanted to do another joint project. And Anthony Kalasny, who has been writing poems, he also wanted to join. And we couldn't figure out what the theme was. And then I said, I was, it was coming out after April. So I said, April's Poetry Month. And I know here in New York, they used to keep a poem in your pocket for April. So if you met someone, you could hand them a poem or read them a poem. So I said, let's pick the pockets of famous people. So we each came up with 10 people. And because it was my idea, I was punished and had to do 11. So we picked famous people and then we shared our lists. And then they didn't know how are we going to do this with all these famous people. So I said, I'm just going to put all my names in a bowl and then just go down the list and just whoever I pick out of the bowl, that's who the person's going to get. And then if anyone's received one of my poems on the postcard, on the left-hand side, I either have a picture of the famous person or something to do with the famous person. And then I actually made a pocket out of heavier colored cardstock. And I made a template so that I can make a lot of these. And then I tucked the poem in the pocket and put an Avery label over it that said, pick a famous pocket for a poem. And they rip off the Avery label and there's the poem, because I'm not that intelligent. And Anthony sent me some names. I don't know who the hell these people are. So I had to look them up. So I thought there might be somebody else of lower mental ability. So on the other side of the poem, I talk briefly about who the person is. And then I talk about why I wrote the poem the way I did. Like for Nina Simone, I explained who Nina Simone was. And then I took the lyrics for Mississippi Goddamn and I wrote my poem between the lines, and it's called Reading Between the Lines. So just to give you an idea. So it's interesting to see. I have gotten one from and it was funny because Anthony sent me an email saying, what are we supposed to do with these things? And he said, are we supposed to write a poem about the famous person? Are we supposed to write a poem to the famous person? Are we supposed to write something about their works? And I just said, yes. And that was it. And Elizabeth Wood said, good luck dealing with Donna. But that's what I've done. I've taken the famous person and I've either wrote about them. This was, of course, from Anthony. I had Albert Camus. So I found out he had a cat named Cigarette. So I wrote about how the cat knocks the pieces of his dreams off at night, and then they're all over the floor, and he's got to put them together to come up with philosophy. So this is one I wrote. I'll read it quickly because there's a lot of people. It's called Innamorato, which is Italian for like, a male kind of playboy. And I thought, I picked out Leonardo da Vinci, and I thought, oh my God, this man was so amazing. I mean, he designed all these things, did all this artwork, but he's forever stuck with the Mona Lisa. That people will always say the Mona Lisa, and everybody I know who's ever traveled and saw it says it's so small. So I thought, I'm going to write a poem, a weird poem about how Leonardo da Vinci is stuck with Mona Lisa like a bad relationship. So that's what this one's called, Innamorato. My last supper with the Mona Lisa was wistful. Onions, carrots, drenched in capers, washed down with cheap IPA. Shared popsicle, broken perfectly. Blackberry, guilty pleasure. Sucked dry wooden sticks tossed spontaneously out the window. Awkward slow dance, me singing, she clinging, the shadow of your smile. I kiss her cheek, she waves from the door, finality stuck to my shoe. I ghost her, rude, necessary. She taunts me, throughout history, always that damn hint of smile. So I have when someone was asking about the bonus postcards, people I have made friends with, I always try to include a bonus postcard. So I know I sent one to Stan. So Judy, Paul, Mary Beth, and Abaya, you will be getting some from me. I have you on my list. But I'm still like 5 behind. So people who are saying that they haven't gotten them, I'm one of those people. But Paul, I have to tell you, I never count to see if I got them all. It's always like a little surprise from the universe when I get one. And I especially love when I get one like 9 months later, when I forget all about poetry. And then there's a straggler. I love the stragglers. So it's like the little...
You got to love the stragglers.
Yeah, it's like an unexpected, like you thought you were all done and maybe got lost in the mail, and nope, there it is.
Some do get lost in the mail. Some get a little chewed up sometime.
Paul, I'm convinced that there's a post office that has something called a mangler that they hide in the basement, and every so many postcards or pieces of mail they send to the mangler and just chew it up.
Every now and then they'll send a guy who tells you how to do the fest to that as well.
Yeah, yeah, really. I'm of the Yoda philosophy. One must know the rules well to break them wisely.
Is that a Yoda philosophy?
That's a Yoda philosophy.
Do you know Yoda's last name?
No. I'm sure it's going to be good.
It's Leahy-hoo.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Sorry.
All right. You're done with me now.
For now, Donna.
Yes.
I love hearing your Chicago accent because I can tell every time you talk.
I know, and you know what? I've lived longer in New York than Chicago, but I still can't get rid of it.
It's all right. There's nothing wrong with it. It's like how the anchors talk on TV.
Yeah, the Bears.
Bears. Starting the season tomorrow. Sox won 6 in a row. We're talking about stragglers and other people. I'm still kind of awed by Judy Kleinberg's organization.
Judy, I am like, every time I subscribe to her website thing and all of the accolades she's getting and all the publications, she is like an awesome poet.
Thank you.
And I love how visual her work is. It's like an art piece on top of, you could hang it up in your house and it would be an art piece on top of a poem. It's amazing.
Thank you.
You not only can, but some people do.
Oh, you have one.
Them up in their house and have them very handy for people.
Oh, yes. I think I'd rather have that than the Mona Lisa.
There you have it.
Thank you so much. Actually, if you want to see what they're talking about, I have a website, Chocolate is a Verb.
I love that name.
And if you look that up, it'll take you there.
No, put it in the chat, Judy.
I can do that. Okay.
I love your upside down one, Judy. That one, that's upside down one that you got published as a chapbook. That's really nice.
Thanks.
Fantastic.
This is my bookmark for my famous book Tolstoy that I read every day, and it's Judy's answer to my, what were they called, the duo, the carrot duo,
right.
A couple of years ago. Yeah.
Right.
There's so many wonderfully quirky and interesting people in the Postcard Fest. And that I think I have enjoyed. I've enjoyed all your poetry, but I've enjoyed meeting all of you and seeing your progress and seeing your work and just keeps constantly staying in touch with you. So to me, that's one of the best parts of the fest.
Thanks, Donna.
All right, move on. Carry on.
That's right. That's right. Charlene Cabral, and then another Donna. I hope she's still here and was not just asking a question. And then we'll just kind of go from there. So, Charlene, are you in the house?
Yes.
Would you
Can
like?
you hear me?
I can hear you fine.
Okay. Hi, I've been participating for about 5 years now. I look forward to it every year. I'm not a professional writer, but I enjoy writing poetry and I also do art. I did also recently take Matt's class, which was terrific. I got a lot from that. And this year I kind of changed my methodology to the poetry. So I found last year that it took up a lot of time. I was kind of with the over editing and putting a lot of time into my cards. I usually do collages, and this year I just kind of tried to simplify things. So I just took old prints that I had and just I did a lot of cutouts from books and magazines and I just let things flow like I learned from Matt's class, and I didn't really edit. They just came, and some were short and sweet and some were a little bit more lengthy, and that's what it was. And that's I just let it rip. So I guess, are you ready for the first one?
Let her rip.
Okay. So the first one is, it's just kind of about when you wake up in the middle of the night and you're awake and you're thinking about life and things. So 3, 4, 5. I tried to fall asleep. The mysteries of trees hung heavy with what life gives you. Dreams, desires, to exist, and existence itself crushing on you, sucking on soul, soul, soul. And that's it. And I just sent her, I can't really hold up the postcard because it's dark, so you can't really appreciate the tones of it. Then the next one is shorter, and this one is, I feel something somewhere stomping on ants. And then I just kind of made a print.
Could you put it a little higher, please?
Yep.
Human.
Human. I feel something somewhere stomping on ants.
Did you have an ant problem this year?
No, but I just, I'm just relating it to humanity.
We had an ant problem this year, so it's a little too soon to hear about it.
Yeah. Well, we do have a lot of ants here in Rhode Island, so. And then the next one is July. Red light, slanting, curving, folding, familiar, sweet. I dream a dream of wings. And then that one, this was just a scrap paper and it reminded me of the summer sky. And that's that. And then I received a couple of pretty homemade ones from other people. I don't know if you could see those.
Can, cool.
And the person I sent the ant one to sent me this one about butterflies.
That wasn't Joey Thomas, was it?
No. And I got this one. I only received 10, not 10. I only received 20 postcards this year. I think last year I got 17. So, but I had the post office. I had them hand sort all mine this year because I was afraid maybe people weren't receiving mine. So I paid the extra to have them sent, but.
Thanks for that effort. Do you know about the butterfly stamp too for non-machinable surcharge?
No.
It's a butterfly stamp, and if you've got odd-sized cards or whatever, or maybe they're a little thicker sometimes, you can buy the non-machinable surcharge stamps, and they're a blue butterfly that I think is indigenous to Colorado, but I'm not sure.
Oh, really? No. Thank you.
Thanks, Charlene. Thanks for the nice testimony too on Matt's class.
Yeah, it was great.
Matt missed the fest this year.
Oh,
How can he do that? He's on the board of directors for the
no.
love of the baby Jesus. I mean, come on. Anyway, he did, and it can happen. It can happen to the best of us. I'm grateful you're a postcard poet, Charlene.
Thank you.
Donna's in Colorado. Donna, did you want to share some work, or you were just asking questions about Zach, or are you here still?
I think Donna sent a message saying she had to go.
Okay. Then
And I'll throw it out there real quick.
Yeah.
You know, for folks who
I
want more
didn't leave. I
cards,
didn't leave. Couldn't figure out how to take the mute off.
it's a different Donna.
Oh, okay. I'm off the hook then. Sorry.
Zach?
If you want more cards, you know, it's a little more responsibility, but sign up for two groups, sign up for 3 groups. You get a whole lot of cards. It's too many to count.
Write your ass off.
Write your ass off, yeah.
How about Jill Spielman? Do you want to pop in, Jill? I'll take that as a no. Is that Sally? Is that our Sally from Capitol Hill that signed up under Jill?
She looks like she's nodding her head.
Sally, you wanna tell us about Sally's another Poetry Postcard Fest committee member?
Yeah, I think I started maybe in 2018. Hey, everybody. I think it was the event Poets in the Park in Redmond that I heard about the Poetry Postcard Fest. So that was a great way. I think a lot of people have shared many wonderful things about the cards that they received. And I think this is an amazing way to build community. And so I thought about doing that within my own neighborhood of building community too, just because it's, to me, doesn't seem like the best of times, but you know, things will get better. So I went to my local post office and I was like, oh, I want to get some postcard stamps. And the person's like, we're out of them. I'm like, when are you going to get them back? And it's like, maybe next week. I'm like, oh, okay, you know, I'll come back. I've got a few. And I'm like, wow, where the heck are all these postcard stamps being used? But then I realized I had bought like 5 sheets probably within the last couple of weeks, because what I had done was I noticed that I seemed to have an abundance of cards that were given to me that I bought. I love vintage ones too. I used to cut up various boxes and I stamped them and I took them to 2 different coffee shops. And what I found is like showing up with the cards and saying, hey, you know, here's some cards, you know, it might be a place that you want to go to, some place you wish you were someday, some wish, you know, something, whatever. At one particular coffee shop, the mail carrier mailed them a postcard. People would take them with them and mail them from where they'd been on vacation, talking about the food where they were, comparing it to the food that they loved here in this neighborhood coffee shop. And it just was like amazing to hear what people were doing. And I feel like we could all use a little extra attention. And I felt like that was maybe helping out a little bit that way. So as far as my own writing, I think I tend to write short. I like space, empty space. Maybe that's something about Ikebana and going minimalist. But what I also thought this year is I have a lot of colored pencils and I was like, why am I saving them? So I actually kind of decorated over some of the poems that I wrote. So I'll read you one that I wrote to Penelope. Hummingbirds and bees, a backyard dot to dot, crows' percussive caws, jets overhead, house bench calls, how to answer. And I have another one. This is for Diana. But before I do that, I was just going to say, Laura, I love the lovely image of the beautiful coffee drink that you sent along with your poem, but your mentioning of Andrew's special surprise artwork plus poem plus Washington State colored in. I thought that was like so creative. I had never seen that before, so I felt honored to have received that. Anyway, so last poems, because I know we're limited on time. For Diana, doors closed, windows open, coat on, coffee cupped, left hand writes, list lengthens, coffee sipped, stamina summoned, house finch trills, phone streams, KEXP, thoughts flow, breath lengthens, eyes wander. One mimosa dead, the other shimmies above the dog with a floppy ear.
And the house finch seriality for you. You dropped out a little bit there, Sally. If you could unmute yourself. And
thank you. Yes. Paying a little more attention to what's outside, trying to ID a few more things. I think the idea of plants specifically, looking at Latin names, and I know that's one thing that, and I have a friend who's like always announces things by the Latin name, and I feel like, oh, could you tell me the common name? But I try to throw a few of those in too. So yeah.
And you threw Ikebana out there. You want to give us the nickel definition of that?
Oh, Japanese flower arranging. And I just try to source it from my garden, but I've noticed that not only do dogs open up the world to you, you talk to other people about their dogs and they talk to you about theirs, but if you talk to people about their gardens, I actually left a note on somebody's gate saying how wonderful their wisteria was, and I had seen an arrangement with some, would they be willing to share some? And they were like, sent me back a note on left my phone number, and they texted me back and said, please come and help yourself. And the other day I actually met the person and he said, oh yes, please take more. And so I thought, how wonderful is that, again, a note, finding some common ground, and it's amazing what can happen.
How cool is that? Thanks, Sally.
Thank you.
You and I are overdue for coffee as well. This might be a group of all people I'm overdue for coffee with. And there you go, drinking it right in front of me. Thanks a lot. Good to see you, Sally. Daniel Smith of Missouri says, I would like to share what it was like to not participate this year after having done so for the past 10 years, but I spent the time getting last year's poems published. Are you still around, Daniel Smith? Are you capable of unmuting yourself and telling us about that?
I am unmuted. Yes, it's a pleasure to be here amongst all you creative people. And I'd put a shameless plug in for the classes over the years that I've taken from the Cascadia and from Paul. Changed the way I wrote, I think, for the better. Other people may not think that, but I'm from the great Midwest here in the state of Missouri in the St. Francis Mountains of the northern Ozark Mountains. So it's a different bioregion, but I missed the fest this year mightily. I still wrote a poem. I wrote a poem every day. I have been part of the fest since 2014, when a fellow poet from France actually invited me. He said, you got to check this out. And I did. And I know we're short on time, so I'll just say that every year, the poems that I've written in July and August are kernels of unpopped popcorn that somehow created a poem, maybe later in the year, maybe they were left alone. And every year either a chapbook of those poems or a book based on those poems have come out. And I was so busy fussing with last year's poems, which had a lot to do with um, internet stalking of people that the cards were going to. And I apologize for that. Didn't mean to scare anybody by writing about the tree in your front yard or, where your husband was fighting fires in Oregon, for example. I wrote a couple of companion poems about Portland, Oregon, and firefighters. And I did change the names to protect the guilty and the innocent. But it's marvelous to listen to to all of you, to each of you. And I've made very fast friends, I think, over the years. Last year's poems turned into a book on a vision of immigrants, uh, privilege, and hope, called The Bearded Man on a Bus, which I didn't realize until after it came out was actually pretty much a viral standard out there about some old guy like me getting beaten up on a bus, and responding and just cleaning the clocks of a couple of young folks who were picking on him. Didn't realize the connection. So I have to be a little more careful about picking the titles. But The Bearded Man on a Bus really was my son stepping off a bus in Philadelphia a couple of years ago. So I love getting postcards. I got some this year, even though I didn't participate, and I sure appreciate that. And I would certainly endorse the classes and the courses. Taught me so much. And I'm really working on the Ozark bioregion here to get things going very slowly. But it is Missouri, they want to show me. So
the Ozarks have a very vibrant bioregional movement that's having another Congress, I think, coming up. And it's one of the most vibrant bioregions in the world in terms of organizing. So I think you're in a good spot to meet some like-minded folks. And if you'd be so kind as to get me a name, give me a list of names and addresses of everybody who said they liked your writing before they took our workshops. I'd just like to send them a little letter. Nothing big, just maybe a post. No,
just to thank them.
I think a letter probably is what I'm thinking about.
It would be a very short letter. I'm one thing about me is that I am obscure.
May it continue.
By definition, I think. So
may continue.
Thank you again, Paul.
Good to see you, man.
Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Far out is Kit. Kit is still waiting for 9 postcards. Is she waiting for a chance to talk about her experience today or not?
I can do that.
All righty.
Actually, since Madison is here.
Oh, let me see. Oh, wait, let me just get you on the.
All right.
Yeah.
You get to see the messy studio. Okay.
No, it's kind of blurred. And now you turned your video off.
All right. Wait a minute.
Okay.
Okay. There we go. Okay.
That's a nice studio. What are you talking about?
So that's from Madison. Really liked her poem. And I like doing the ekphrastic a lot. And let's see here. What I did was I took pictures of my postcards because our printer's been acting up and doesn't print true colors. So that's a picture, there you go, of the bunch of insects. There's a praying mantis. It's called Letting Go. I scoop grasshopper in my palm. Antennae tickle. Feelings race on nerve endings. I release this masterpiece on Mother Earth. Listen to my inner voice as I leap forward in time. And I'll share the first one that I sent. We have a great independent bookstore here in Asheville, North Carolina. And they have wonderful postcards. So that was the first one. Dance like no one is watching. She heard those words, tied silk shoes around calloused feet, donned her tutu, the red coursing over her body like blood through veins. Everyone watched from windows, skyscrapers, and far below, held their breaths. There you go.
Makes me nervous just looking at it.
Yeah, you got vertigo. It's.
Catherine, I sent you?
Pardon?
Can you read the poem that I sent you on my card? I don't remember which one it was.
Hey, Madison, from Madison. Is it passion or is it garlic? Crush to release the fire. Handle roughly. Know it well. Yield sweetness through the sting.
I liked that one. That's awesome.
Really nice. Even the back is decorated.
I had a lot of fun doing that.
Yeah. So thank you.
Beautiful.
Welcome. I'm
work,
glad you liked it.
That's permission right there in action. I love it. Thanks for coming, Madison. Madison, did you want to share something?
I have Catherine's card here. It's very pretty.
Beautiful. That is beautiful. Nice work, Kit. Should we go back to the list?
For those of you who are in the Dale Chihuly land, they had an exhibit here at the Biltmore Estate of his work.
Right on. Dale Chihuly from this part of the world. Thanks, Kit. You ever go to Black Mountain Museum there?
I have not been to the Black Mountain Museum, but there is a little poetry group called Dark City Poets Society that meets in Black Mountain.
Oh my God, it's on my bucket list to see Lake Eden, the campus there. So thanks for being here. Thanks for being a postcard poet.
And this is my first time.
Is that right? Well, you seem to got the hang of it. Yeah, I hope you'll come back. Julie Patino, you have a couple of comments. And if you're still in and want to share, feel free to pop in. And if not hearing you, I see Cass Diaz. I don't know if Cass is still in the house. Did anyone else get a letter from this person? I don't know. You were laughing out loud about that at 2:44, but that's over an hour ago. So, and then let me see who else is there. I think that's about it. Is there anyone who hasn't read who would like to share a poem or two? And if not,
I see Sue Spiegel.
Yeah, I offered my services if you have time.
Yes, please.
I'll be brief. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. This is my first time I saw an ad in Poets and Writers, in which I circle lots of possibilities. And I've been in workshops and done readings here. Don't keep it brief so someone else can. So I think I'll just go right to over the years I have a stack of postcards from trips I went on and didn't mail them. And also back in, I don't know, the 90s, you'd go into these restaurants and they'd have just postcard ads like Marilyn Monroe, our models beat up their models, and all these cool artsy things. And I sent just about all of them. And I didn't try to match what was on the card. Okay, So here's one I wrote last September. There's a Presbyterian Cuba partnership between PCUSA and Presbyterians in Cuba, despite what our leaders say about there being no religious freedom. Anyway, so we had a conference last year in Darien near Chicago. I grew up near Chicago, so I'm going to this one's called What We Need. 1,000 crickets chirped in the night. The yellow moon rose as if pulled up by a rope. That September night in Illinois, it still felt like summer. We made s'mores, even in 80 degrees. We found comfort in simple things, familiar or not, and in each other, friends without borders. We need each other to chirp and rise. So that's about my feelings when I was at that conference. Oh, here's one from when I lived in the Boston area for 20 years. Crocuses. Crocuses are brave. I've seen them shivering in frosty gray, sleety gloom, pale March sunlight. They are brave, standing up to prevailing winds. So, I mean, I don't know if you want another or if you want to give someone else a chance.
No, I think you're going to be the last person. So if you'd like to do one last card, I do want to say that my Cuban-born mother in Chicago would very much appreciate. She lives on the northwest side. And
good.
And I'm going to go visit her for her 88th birthday next month. So keep good thoughts for her.
Fantastic. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, it was just great with all the partners to be together. Unhindered. I hope they can stay unhindered this year. I can't go, but okay, here's one. There's such a macabre name that I had to read about it and write about it. And you may have heard of it's my dog. You may have heard of it before. Excuse me one second. He never stops. Okay. Bone collector caterpillar. Excuse me. The bone collector caterpillar, meat eater, covers itself in insect body parts to trick a spider and steal the spider's dinner. It creeps along the web in its costume of dead insect legs and wings. I now feel pity for this Oahu spider. We have become the spiders of Oahu, while our overlords become bone collector caterpillars, stealing dinner off our plates. Okay, then.
Well, that seems to be an appropriate place to end.
You should see the pictures of this thing here.
Sue, thank you for your contribution. Thanks for postcard.
Yeah, it's my first. Did I say that? First year I was in group 14. Yeah.
Fantastic. What a great fest it's been this year. I'm grateful that you're all here. I got some pretty cool cards. Lisa Fox in Michigan sent that one. James Brown is a butterfly. Abaya, I saw you in the house there for a while. I don't know if you left, but God, she's so good. She's so good. I hope you'll teach a workshop, Abaya. We'd love to have you for that. It was great seeing you here. We're going to do postcards from Mapes Creek again this year. I mean, this coming season. This one came from Janet Reed. That's pretty cool. Look at that. Probably fit in better if I do it like this, but who did this came from Paula Wagner of Albany. Oh, wait a minute. This is for someone else in the house. Oh my God. How did that get in my stash? Bhakti Watts, I'm stealing your postcard. Sorry about that. I'll give it to the intended. You want to take that? Sorry about that.
Thank you.
Don't know how that happened. And then what better way to end than with Tim Mateer? Buckle up. So what joy the fest brings me, what joy this occasion has brought me. I'm grateful you're all postcard poets. Thanks for your support of the Cascadia Poetic Slam and the Poetry Postcard Fest. Next year, year 20, we're trying to figure out some creative ways to honor that. So, there's room on the Poetry Postcard Committee. If you're interested in being part of that, let us know. And thanks for doing what you do. Thanks, Zach. Thanks, Sally. Thanks, Judy Kleinberg, for being on the Postcard Fest Committee. And thank you all for being postcard poets.